Jonathan stepped through the imposing gates of the maximum security prison, the weight of his wrongful conviction pressing down like a lead blanket. The architecture loomed tall and sinister, concrete walls closing in, while every corner echoed with whispers of despair. Memories surged: his arrest, the betrayal of his partner, the damning evidence that twisted the truth like a knife in his gut. That first night in the cold cell was a cacophony of haunting isolation and grief, where echoes of his fiancée's unwavering belief in his innocence played like a bittersweet symphony. Each moment reminded him of the warmth they shared, now trapped in a world of steel and sorrow. As he faced the harshness of prison life, a few flickers of hope emerged within the depths of his anguish, daring to light the way toward the truth he desperately craved. Jonathan's first night in the cold, stark cell spiraled him into an abyss of despair. Alone with his thoughts, the muffled sounds of distant cries and the clanging of metal bars amplified his anguish. Memories of his fiancée's unwavering support flooded his mind, each recollection a bittersweet reminder of their last heartfelt conversation before his arrest. As he lay on the uncomfortable cot, the weight of his situation pressed heavily upon him, yet a flicker of hope sparked within him. He knew he had to endure, to find a way to navigate this harsh reality. It was in that solitary moment, grappling with his newfound isolation, that he resolved to hold on to his dreams of freedom and the steadfast belief in his innocence. Committed to survival, he vowed to adapt and find strength in his enduring love. As Jonathan embraced the pulsing thrum of prison life, he met Sam, his new cellmate, whose quiet demeanor masked a depth of understanding. They exchanged brief introductions, but it was Sam's story that captivated Jonathan, another tale of wrongful conviction, stark and painful. The bond forged between them was raw and essential, built on mutual experiences of loss and betrayal. Through conversations shared over the low rumble of distant voices, Jonathan began to see that hope could bloom even in the most barren places. Sam offered insights into mental survival and strategies to navigate the prison's treacherous waters. Each shared moment layered their connection, transforming their misery into a source of strength. United by their shared determination, Jonathan felt something shift within him. He was no longer alone in his fight for justice. Together they contemplated the path ahead, resolving to support one another through the relentless darkness that enveloped them. As Jonathan settled into the unforgiving rhythm of prison life, his world expanded beyond the confines of his cell. He met Tech, a sharp-witted hacker, whose knowledge of the digital world revealed new avenues for hope. Then there was Maddox, a former educator with a wealth of insights about the judicial system's failings. Their candid discussions stirred a shared frustration, illuminating the harsh realities faced by the innocent. In their interactions, Jonathan started to feel a sense of belonging amidst despair. The camaraderie blossomed in unexpected places, allowing him to divert his focus from the bleakness that surrounded them. United in their plight, the trio plotted ways to challenge the system, intertwining their fates with whispers of resilience. With every conversation, Jonathan's resolve solidified, recognizing that even in such dire circumstances, the spark of community offered a lifeline against the struggles they all faced. As Jonathan navigated the complexities of his new reality, his thoughts turned to the trial that had sealed his fate. The prosecutor's presentation of tainted evidence replayed in his mind, igniting a fury within him toward a system that had so gravely failed him. He couldn't shake the images of his innocence being twisted and manipulated in the courtroom, where truth had taken a backseat to speculation. Driven by a need for justice, he meticulously began to craft counter-arguments, focusing on crucial details that had slipped through the cracks during his defense. Each thought crystallized into a desperate plea for clarification and truth, compelling him to find the strength to articulate his case. Jonathan felt a newfound determination surge as he realized that if he could present his arguments clearly, perhaps the tide could turn, and his fight for freedom could begin anew. As the cacophony of prison life enveloped Jonathan, he began to observe the guards, each one displaying a unique character that influenced the atmosphere within the facility. Officer Reed stood out among them, a cruel figure who wielded psychological torment like a weapon, escalating Jonathan's anxiety to new heights. In stark contrast was Officer Clay, whose rare moments of kindness provided Jonathan with glimmers of relief amidst the constant tension. These interactions unveiled a complex dynamic, where fear and security intertwined, leaving Jonathan wrestling with his emotions. With every encounter, he felt the weight of his situation intensify, fostering a sense of urgency within him. Yet, amidst the turmoil and unpredictability, he clung to the fragile trust that began to form, knowing that navigating this world required both resilience and acute awareness. The struggle for survival was just beginning, and Jonathan was resolute in facing whatever lay ahead. Jonathan's heart raced as he anticipated the arrival of his fiancée, a moment that carried both hope and despair. When she stepped into the visiting room, her eyes brimmed with unshed tears, and the world around him fell away. Their conversation was loaded with unspoken words, her anguish palpable as whispers of gossip and doubt encircled them like an unshakable shroud. He could see the toll it took on her, each question about his guilt stinging deeper than any prison bar could. Yet, amid the emotional turbulence, her unwavering belief in his innocence rekindled a faint flicker of hope within him. With every shared word and lingering gaze, Jonathan felt a fierce determination to reclaim his life and prove his truth. The weight of his convictions stung, but their bond remained a beacon through the darkness, lighting his path with promises of fighting for justice together. As the days passed, Jonathan found himself sinking deeper into his thoughts, wandering through the complexities of his regrets and fears. He began to pour his heart into a hidden notebook, the pages becoming a sanctuary for his tumultuous emotions. Each word unspooled painful memories, creating space for breakthroughs that offered a glimpse of his fractured identity reforming. Writing allowed Jonathan to sift through his anguish, revealing layers of resilience and strength he hadn't acknowledged before. In those quiet moments of reflection, he discovered insights that shifted his perspective. The importance of not just surviving, but truly living in the face of adversity. Through this release, he felt the chains of hopelessness begin to loosen, replaced by an invigorating sense of purpose. With each written line, Jonathan embarked on the arduous journey of reclaiming himself, determined to rise above his circumstances and fight for the truth that lay buried within. As Jonathan immersed himself in the everyday rhythms of prison, he inadvertently tuned into hushed conversations between the guards. One exchange caught his attention, sparking an unsettling thrill of anticipation. A new witness had surfaced, potentially linked to his case. The realization crashed over him, igniting an urgent flame of resolve. This was not just an idle rumor. This could be the breakthrough he desperately needed to reclaim his life. He felt a pulse of determination surge within him, urging him to act swiftly and thoughtfully. There could be no missteps. The stakes had never been higher. Jonathan's mind raced with strategies on how to communicate this crucial lead to his legal team while avoiding the watchful eyes of the guards. The seeds of a plan began to take root, fueling his resolve to pursue every avenue toward justice. The journey for truth was reignited, and Jonathan was ready to fight. Jonathan shares his discovery about the new witness with Tech and Maddox, igniting excitement within the group. Together, they brainstorm methods to discreetly contact the outside world, balancing caution with hope. The trio's collaboration showcases their innovative problem-solving skills, a light amidst the pervasive darkness. Jonathan's determination grows as he envisions the potential impact of the new evidence on his case. Tensions rise within the prison as rumors circulate, highlighting the precariousness of their situation. They navigate the complex social dynamics of their environment, testing new strategies for communication. A sense of urgency mounts as the deadline approaches for submitting the new information. Jonathan reflects on his resilience, realizing that despair can transform into determination. Just as the plan takes shape, unforeseen complications threaten to derail their efforts. With newfound allies at his side, Jonathan prepares to confront the escalating risks with courage. Empowered by the shared goal, Jonathan steels himself for the challenges ahead. Jonathan carefully crafted a letter to his attorney, knowing the stakes had grown perilously high. The atmosphere in prison had shifted. Whispers of the new witness circulated like wildfire, igniting both excitement and fear among the inmates. As he penned his thoughts through a meticulously devised method, anxiety thrummed in the air. He understood that if the letter were discovered, the repercussions could sever his thin thread of hope. Tension bubbled within the walls, amplifying his determination to proceed, each stroke of the pen a step closer to reclaiming his freedom. The urgency was palpable, pushing him to balance the risk of exposure against the necessity of action. With each carefully chosen word, he solidified his resolve, knowing that the fight for justice demanded unwavering courage. In that moment, he felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him. The chance for redemption was within reach. As the consequences of his bold plan bore down on him, Jonathan's heart raced. The knowledge that Officer Reed was onto him, sending ice through his veins. The confrontation had come with the chilling realization that he was playing a dangerous game, where the stakes had never been higher. He steeled himself for the inevitable fallout, his mind reeling with the potential retribution looming over him. Yet amidst the fear and uncertainty, a fire ignited deep within. This wasn't just about survival, it was about resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Each heartbeat reinforced his determination to navigate the treacherous path ahead, refusing to let despair suffocate his spirit. Jonathan understood that challenges bred strength, and as he faced the impending confrontation, he was resolute. He would meet whatever came with unyielding courage, convinced that his quest for justice had to continue, no matter the cost. The flicker of hope Jonathan felt after hearing about the attorney's investigation into the new lead quickly became tempered by the weight of reality. He found himself grappling with the agonizing pace of the justice system, each day stretching into an eternity defined by uncertainty. The emotional toll of the waiting game loomed large, yet he clung to the prospect of change, knowing that even the smallest sliver of potential evidence could stir the machinery of justice. As he paced within the confines of his cell, Jonathan's thoughts spiraled into a mix of anticipation and caution. Every moment felt critical, and the silence around him became both suffocating and charged with possibility. Fueled by the belief that this was the turning point he had longed for, he prepared to channel his hope into action, understanding that sometimes the most profound transformations begin in the face of despair. As Jonathan stood at the precipice of a new chapter, a hearing loomed on the horizon, one that could alter the course of his life forever. Anxiety coursed through him like a live wire, yet amid the turmoil, a sense of camaraderie blossomed within the confines of the prison walls. Support poured in from his fellow inmates. Their shared experiences forged a powerful bond that transcended individual struggles. Jonathan felt their collective strength lifting him, a reminder that hope could flourish even in the harshest realities. Together, they rallied, exchanging whispered encouragements as the date approached. With each passing hour, he reflected on the journey that had led him here, a testament to resilience, perseverance, and unwavering faith in justice. Jonathan knew that as he stepped into the courtroom, he carried with him not just his own dreams, but the hopes of those who believed in his innocence. The moment had arrived to confront his fate. As Jonathan's hearing approached, he felt the weight of his journey settle on his shoulders, a heavy yet empowering mantle. The days in prison transformed him, shaping his resolve in unexpected ways. He had navigated fear, built bonds, and tapped into an inner strength he never knew existed. This process of growth illuminated the path ahead, intertwining threads of hope woven through the fabric of his experience. Now, as he prepared for the impending courtroom battle, his heart thrummed with anticipation, tempered by a deep understanding of the resilience he had cultivated. Empowered by the unwavering support of his cellmates, he could almost feel their collective energy coursing through him, fueling his determination. With a clarity he hadn't possessed before, he stood ready to face the unknown, knowing that regardless of the outcome, he had transformed his despair into an unbreakable spirit. It was time to reclaim his truth.